Transfers, match preview, and everything you want to know about Eiran Cashin's injury as well as Kane Wilson's will be coming in this video as we look ahead to Derby County's fixture in the Sky Bet Championship on Saturday afternoon. Derby County will travel to Vicarage Road to face Tom Cleverley's Watford in this upcoming game. Now, it's going to be a very, very interesting one. It's certainly one where there could be a few trials and tribulations, not just for Derby County, but also for Watford. Now, Watford have started the season in some impeccable form, and Tom Cleverley has really shown what he is capable of doing as a manager. Now, Derby County, on the other hand, have won 2 games and lost 1 so far this season, obviously 1 being in the Cup. And it's time for Derby County to see if they can build some momentum heading into this one. But before we do get into everything you need to know about this game, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that notification button while smashing the like button to help this channel grow for new audiences. We've recently just hit 1.1 thousand subscribers. We're pushing really hard to get to that next 1,000, that 2,000 mark, and you can help me by hitting that red button. So let's just take a brief overview of what is going on this weekend. So Derby County do head to Vicarage Road, where a player who I grew up watching in Tom Cleverley is now the manager and one of the youngest managers in the division, and he has been absolutely amazing so far this season for Watford. And Derby County, on the other hand, started the season off with a disappointing result against Blackburn Rovers, but turned that around against Middlesbrough in what was a really, really good defensive display. Now, if we do just look at the injuries and suspended list, we have no new news on Corey Blackett-Taylor from Paul Warne's press conference. Jake Rooney is still in a brace but is looking well. Joe Ward has been on the bench the last couple of games, so I'm not quite sure why he's still in the injury list. Jerry Yates is obviously now back available for selection after his suspension, and he'll feel a bit like a brand new signing. Now, I can't say I know too much on Watford's side of things for injuries, suspensions and all that jazz, but I know that they've been in some really good form to start this season. And if we do just take a look, so far they've scored, 11 goals in 3 games, conceding just twice, and they've put in some really, really good performances so far this season. Derby County, on the other hand, started the season with a 4-2 defeat to Blackburn in what was a really, really poor defensive display. A 2-1 win over Chesterfield in the Cup really brightened up their season, as then they went and beat Middlesbrough at Pride Park. Now, obviously, if you look at Watford, 3 games in a row, they've scored 3+ goals. They did concede 2 to Millwall on the opening day, but ultimately came away as 3-2 winners. 5-0 versus MK Dons and a 3-0 win versus Stoke City. Now, Watford have a player who Derby County fans will know well in Tom Ince. I believe he scored a hat-trick in the Cup game, and he's a player who has sort of been around for years and years, and in my opinion is one of my favourite players ever to play for Derby County in my lifetime. I've really enjoyed watching him play. I know a lot of people don't really give him the credit he deserves. Now, when we talk about injuries and suspensions, there's 2 names who are going to be added to that list for this upcoming weekend, and that is Eiran Cashin and Kane Wilson. Now, Eiran Cashin went off after failing the concussion protocol, and he'll be missing the next 2 games as per Paul Warne's press conference, and that means he'll miss this one, and I believe the second game is Barrow. That's what I believe based on what Paul Warne has said. He might also miss Bristol City, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's disappointing to lose Eiran Cashin, and I think it sort of does show when we get into the team predictions later on in this video. I think it really does show that Derby County needs someone in that position. Now, Kane Wilson got knocked in what I thought should have been a free kick at the time and has tweaked his hamstring. Seems as if he's going to be out for probably about a month. Paul Warne says we won't see him before the international break, and then by the time we get to the end of the international break, it's been a month. So I feel like he's sort of going to be out the picture for a while. Now, if we do just take a quick look into the squad over at Watford, and I think they've got some really, really good players. I think Backman's a really good goalkeeper. If you go to their sort of defensive line, I think the likes of Pollock, Porteous, even Sirialta are some really, really good players. You obviously then go into the midfield, and you can't really take your eyes off Musa Sissoko, a really, really good player. Obviously, he's been around the teams over the course of his career. Obviously, spent some time at the likes of Tottenham and obviously at Watford as well when he started off his career. So it's one of those for me where, can we get his career up on here? Can we do it? Yes, we can. Obviously, spent some time at Newcastle, Tottenham, Watford, Nantes, and had a really good career in his own right. And I really do like this player, and I am quite surprised that he is back in the Championship, but he's done really well in his opening 2 games, 35 years of age. Be really interesting to see how he gets on at the weekend. And if we do just go back to the Watford squad, you also then look at the forwards. I've already mentioned Tom Ince, who is still a really, really good player. You obviously look at Ken Sema as well, another player who is really, really good. And this Watford side is only going to get better and better. Now, obviously, they're under the young management of Tom Cleverley now, who I think has got into a really, really good position in management. And I started the season, and if any of you did watch my preview and predictions video, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go for Tom Cleverley. I felt like he could have been used as a bit of a, I don't know what you call it now, a bit of a scapegoat, that's the one. And I think he's done really, really well to start this season. 3 wins in 3. And obviously, as the season progresses, if they can keep up the performances they've been keeping up, they'll have no problems in this division and will probably be sort of like in that battle for the playoffs. Now, obviously, a lot can happen. There is still 44 league games to play, and it could all go tits up over the next few weeks. But obviously, hopefully that starts with Derby County picking up a good result. But we'll just have to see what happens. Now, obviously, let's now get into talking a little bit about Derby County and the transfer market. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County and EFL content that is heading your way across the course of this season. We've just hit 1.1 thousand subscribers. I really appreciate all the support, but let's keep pushing. Let's get ourselves up to 2,000 as quickly as possible. Obviously, there will be a video about Liam Cooper out tomorrow, and a video on the weekend about the performances. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned so you know when the next videos do drop. Now, Derby County have obviously been looking for a centre-half, a central midfielder, and another number 9 for the longest period of time, really. We've needed a number 9 for years. We've needed a younger centre-half for quite a while as well. And obviously that creative midfielder, we've always needed one of them. And it feels like it feels like, based on what Paul Warne's saying, we're getting closer to something in the middle of the park. Now, we were led to believe last week that something could have happened within 48 hours. Obviously, that never came through. We're obviously a week later now, and that deal still hasn't been confirmed. Now, is that the same deal he's talking about now, which seems to be further down the line? I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, if you did check out my video earlier today, there's rumours that we're linked to a player called Gustav Lagerbielek, and he's currently at Celtic, but he's got interest from other clubs around Europe. So that could be a bit more of a difficult deal for Derby County to sort of make happen. Feels like it would need to be a permanent deal with a decent transfer fee, and I sort of don't think that's going to happen. And within the press conference, Paul Warne was discussing transfers and things like that, and he said that it's getting to that stage where some of the fees are sort of over the top for what you're paying for, essentially, and that will obviously calm down over the next week. Obviously, we're about 8 to 9 days away from transfer deadline day, and we're getting closer and closer to when those deals and those fees sort of really do drop. So it's going to be interesting to see what Derby County do bring in. Paul Warne has made it clear in today's press conference that players will be coming through the door at the start, towards the end of this transfer window. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, we go into that international break as the transfer window closes, so it could be a really good period for Paul Warne to bed these players in and get them ready to start their return game after the transfer window closes and after the international break. So we're looking to be in a fairly decent position. Now, in a minute, we're going to go on to talking about the team predictions and things like that, but I just think it's really important that Derby County get these transfers right. And I think, obviously, you've heard the likes of Marvin Johnson be interested from Derby, interested in him. You've obviously got the rumours of Liam Cooper. There's going to be a video about him out tomorrow. And obviously, this most recent one with Gustav. And it could be some really, really good deals, but we need to get them over the line as quickly as possible, because we need to give them time to get in and bed in and learn what Paul Warne wants and get up to the right fitness levels. And obviously losing the likes of Cashin for the next two sort of opens your eyes to how limited the squad is in certain areas. Obviously not having Jake Rooney available, Kane Wilson not being available, and obviously Corey Blackett-Taylor, what's going on with him? We've not heard any word on him. So there's a lot still going on behind the scenes which could help Derby County, and hopefully we do get into that position where we can bring in some really, really good players to develop this squad. But shall we now get into the team prediction? Now, here is the team that I have gone for, sticking in the 4-3-3 motion that we've been using in recent weeks. I do think that Zetterstrom is going to make his debut this Saturday. I think as much as Josh Vickers put in an excellent display versus Middlesbrough, I just think the goalkeeper's a specialised position. I think you have to have your best possible player in that, whatever happens. Now, do I think that Vickers isn't good enough to play? No. I think Vickers is more than capable of playing in the Championship. But I just think if you're spending upwards of £1.5 million on a goalkeeper from Sweden, he needs to play. And I think some of you will have seen the videos that have been put on Twitter by Derby County's social media team. And I do think that he just looks a really imposing figure. And I put a tweet out the other day, sort of taking the mick a little bit, saying that I just think we've signed the best goalkeeper in the world. And he's got that sort of feeling about him that he's just going to be really good. Now, I could be massively wrong. He could end up being a Ben Hamer, a Keller Roos. But it looks as if he's going to be really good. And obviously, you then have to go to the back four. Obviously, with Wilson and Cashin being out, it then enables an opportunity for the likes of Sonny Bradley and Ryan Niambi to step up in their place. I know a few people would probably move to a three-back formation because of the injuries to Cashin and Wilson. But for me, I think we've got to stick with that back four, which ended the game against Middlesbrough. I think they did really, really well. And it was really interesting to see how the back four came together towards the back end of the game. Obviously, we then ended up going into a little bit of a back five as well. So those sort of things are possible. And obviously, if you look at, Ryan Niambi, he can obviously come in and make a third centre-half in build-up if that's what we want to do. Osborne pushing across. So there is opportunities there for this to turn into a five. But I do think that should be the starting back four. Now, obviously, you then go to the midfield three, and I don't think you can change it. I think Kenzo, Ozzy and Ozo have been magnificent in the Middlesbrough game. I think, obviously, we didn't have much of the ball, but I think when we had it, they were really comfortable on the ball. They didn't mind popping it off here, there and everywhere. And I think they did a really, really good job. Now, obviously, we brought in Ibu Adams to play in that role where Ozzo is. But Ozzo has done excellently so far. And I think it just goes back to you've got to earn your place in this team. And I think David Ozzo certainly has done that. Obviously, Ibu Adams not really had much of an opportunity to do so. But until Ozzo has a bad game or Osborne or Kenzo really struggles, you can't really make that change. Now, we then go on into the front three, and I think Mendes, Lang and Jackson stick to their positions left and right. Don't really think you can change much about that. Two of our most influential players heading into a really important game versus Watford, and I do think Jerry Yates will make his debut. I think as much as Collins did an okay job versus Middlesbrough, I think you can't turn down what Jerry Yates has available to him and how much he can be more beneficial to the players we have in the squad. Like, he can start to create a link-up play with the likes of Kenzo and the likes of Jackson and Mendes Lang to be able to sort of find a way to make it work in build-up. Now, on the bench, you will notice the likes of Corey Blackett-Taylor, Joe Ward, things like that. Now, I don't even know if Corey Blackett-Taylor is fit. We've had no word on him for the past couple of weeks. Hopefully he's fit and available and we can finally see what he can do in a Derby County shirt over the course of the next few weeks. But they may sort of hold off and not bring him in until the Barrow game, which would probably mean someone from the academy stepping up. Obviously, Darren Robinson's gone out on loan, so it won't be him. But could we see Stepen Oyumene step up, the likes of Lennon Weldon? Will they step up now? McAndrew, Cruz, Allen, will they make that step up to the bench for the first team for this game against Watford? It is going to be interesting to see, because obviously we do have 9 subs now, and it does open up that opportunity for those youngsters to get opportunities. Now, let me know your team predictions down in the comments. Let me know your score predictions as well. I can't remember what I put in mine. It might have been a loss. because Watford is one of them teams that we seem to lose to when we play them. So we'll obviously have to see what happens. If you do want to check out my predictions and preview of all the August fixtures, I'll make sure to tag that video up at the top at this point in the video. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this team down in the comments. What youngster would you bring up if Blackett Taylor isn't available? Let me know your thoughts. Now, we've looked through the fixture, we've spoken about transfers and team predictions, and there's obviously a lot going on at Derby County, and we do need to find a sort of rhythm, and we need to get some momentum built in this season. I think we probably need around 50 points to be safe this year. It might be a little bit lower, but I think if you've got 50 points, you're guaranteed safety, and I think it's really important we pick up some results on the road along the way. So obviously, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, turn on that notification bell, make sure you hit the like button, let me know your thoughts and team predictions down in the comments, and I'll catch you in my next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.